Hello. We all know that winning with new products is really important if you want to have a hugely successful business at Wayfair or other e-commerce retailers and do business in the millions of dollars. But what if I told you that being overzealous with new products is a big risk? We're going to get into that. Hi, how are you? I'm Josh Roberts with RSG Sales, and RSG Sales is a dedicated e-commerce account management firm. We work with our clients in account management with Wayfair, Overstock, Home Depot, Macy's, Bed Bath & Beyond. We also teach our clients how to manage the business for themselves as well. So one of the things that companies that do millions of dollars at Wayfair have in common is that, firstly, they've been at it for a while, and they have fully embraced the nuances of the category and of the customer, in this case being Wayfair. And they're very, very good with the fundamentals, or what I call the rules of engagement. So what are those things? These are the basics to build a really good, solid infrastructure so that you can have a successful online e-commerce business. Number one, shipping your orders within 24 to 48 hours. Having low damage rates. Your merchandising has to be impeccable. These companies have 7 or more images, in some cases videos, of course lifestyle shots, and premium content to really educate the customer, and they have very high conversion rates as a result of this. The other thing is they're very humble. They don't pretend to know everything. They're constantly looking for opportunities to educate themselves and look for every opportunity to drive business. One of the other things is that, like everyone else, they started with a base of SKUs. Whether that was 50 items or 100 items. They did all the right things. They did all the right tactics that you have to take to drive traffic to your SKUs to really drive business. And over time, they established a core base of SKUs that drove 80% of their sales. And they're very focused, again, on building a strong base business, that strong foundation. So all of the emphasis is put on staying in stock on those top sellers that do 80% of your business. And in doing so, what you're doing for your company is that it's a steady cash flow that you now have. You are profitable, which gives you the ability to invest in technology and more inventory on your top sellers, and obviously the ability to expand into new categories and add more new products. And ultimately, you learn a formula for success that's repeatable, that you can continue to repeat time and time again. Okay, so building a strong base business comes first, and that really gives you a lot of latitude. And so we know that to do millions of dollars at Wayfair, you do have to have a pretty broad, robust catalog. And the reason for that is within the e-commerce space, it's very difficult to tell which items are going to be successful. Obviously, there's some proven history, and some are easier than others. So with more SKUs, you're able to cast a broader net to get a sense of what the customer is really going to respond to. And every category has a sweet spot in terms of how many SKUs that you should be offering. I typically find in home decor, it just depends on the category and the pricing of that category. In textiles, the SKU count may be much, much higher than that of, say, case goods furniture or accent and occasional furniture. But nonetheless, I see it anywhere usually between 300 SKUs to 1,500 SKUs to really get into that $1 million sales mark and beyond. This also requires launching new product multiple times a year and having a plan of how poor performers or dogs are phased out and new products come in right behind them. And, obviously, let's face it, launching new products is a heck of a lot more fun than the core boring fundamentals. With new products, you get to travel possibly to other countries, work with all kinds of different factories, see creative new ideas, and it's a lot of fun. It's a fun part of the business. The mistake that I really see, though, a lot of companies make is that they want to skip all of the building part of the process and building their base and their infrastructure and go right to generating a really big catalog and bringing in a lot of SKUs. It's a very risky proposition, and ultimately what can happen is it's what I call a chasing your tail cycle. You never really grow. And the reason why it's difficult to grow before you've really established your base business is that ultimately you have a house of cards. At that point, you don't have any proven products. and you're consistently out of stock on your best sellers, and companies can be stuck in a position where they don't have the cash flow to reorder those. So that can really start a nasty spin, and in some cases it can put companies out of business. Because the e-commerce dynamic, it takes 6 months for a product to really become relevant. At Wayfair, you need at least 5 customer reviews before you're going to get that relevancy. And it's tough to pass judgment on a new product until the 12 to 18 month time period. So again, it's back to the basics, having a strong base foundation where you're staying in stock and driving robust growth with those items that drive 80% of your business is what's really critical. And I'll give you a perfect example. One of my clients that we work with, one time, one of the years, they went really, crazy with new products. They increased their inventory 25% year over year, much of which was driven from new products. And so he looked at me and he said, Josh, my inventory dollars are up 25%, but my sales are flat. Why is that? And we got into the details, and I showed him that, look, you're still out of stock on the items that drive 80% of your business. So your inventory dollars may be up, but these new products don't have history. They're not going to sell nearly at the rate of your core base business. And this is why we're in this conundrum. It goes back to what I call chasing your tail. If you can't put the chicken before the egg, a strong base business fuels everything. So fortunately, in this case, this client's a very humble business owner and is willing to learn from mistakes. And it's pretty, we quickly made some adjustments. Unfortunately, he was able to do that. And now the business is doing just fine and growing well the way it should be. But I've seen other companies that didn't have the capital foundation that this particular client had, and without the cash flow to continue ordering your best sellers, you can quickly go out of business in doing that. So when you think about launching new products, there's a lot of great home decor suppliers out there that do an amazing job. And there are different formulas in which to bring new products to market. Obviously it takes a lot of creativity, a lot of talent, a lot of vision, understanding the trends and how to supplement what you're currently doing, and also having a vision for looking at a category and identifying gaps within that category, whether it's pricing or styling. So those are all obviously some of the basic things. But over the last 15 years in the e-commerce business, I've seen some hacks that what some of the best companies do to successfully launch new products and constantly build that base business and add more and more top sellers into their base, which is the ultimate goal, obviously, to drive more dollar sales and profitability. And the first one would be, what is the low-hanging fruit? And so in the e-commerce world, this would be what we call building the super SKUs, okay? So you take one of your top-selling items, whatever it may be, and how can you build that out? Because it's doing really well. Can you add more colors to it, more size variations? So you have the parent-child variant, and build those super SKUs. And then when you have so many options within a SKU, it increases the traffic, it increases the review count, and then, again, repeat. And that is a great way to drive huge profitable sales. The other thing that successful companies do with new products is they really do their homework on the front end. And they use their years of history and experience to learn from their mistakes. And even without if you don't have the history and years of experience, there's a lot of intelligence that you can tap into that's free. One of which would be at Wayfair is the buyers. The Wayfair people have access to millions and millions of items. They can see what kind of price points work, what kind of categories are excelling, where there may be over proliferation. There could be certain categories where the SKU count's way too high and it's way too competitive. A good example of that would be wall art, where last year, 2018, 2019, Wayfair put a freeze on adding wall art SKUs because there were just too many SKUs in the category. So, if you were spending a huge amount of time on building out new products in that category, that could have been a problem. Secondly, would be looking at within the Partner Home portal, there are customer trend reports that for each given category shows the sweet spot in pricing. That gives you a sense of where you want to be, what kind of costs you need to have to hit the retails that you want to have. Also, a great source of free information is simply looking at the first 3 pages with different customer websites, whether that's Wayfair, Overstock, Walmart.com, Home Depot, and so forth. You can see which items are successful, why they're successful. This also gives you a sense of, okay, I'm getting into a space to, what am I doing different? Am I bringing forward just another Me Too? And if that's the case, it's going to be difficult because you're going to be competing against similar items that have history. Again, when you launch a new product, it has no history. And now a new product does get a boost in the algorithm, but not nearly to the extent, of course, of what a proven item has. So in doing that exercise, you can look for ways to differentiate, which is very important because you want to add value to any category, obviously. Now, number three, a lot of companies look, because let me go back a little bit. So a lot of companies look to expand into new categories, which makes sense because home decor is a lifestyle. So lighting companies may want to get into accent furniture or area rugs or occasional furniture. Maybe they want to expand into the outdoor space. So there's any number of cross-functional categories that make sense to expand into. And that's a great way to diversify and grow your business over time. Now this does require obviously even more homework than just adding products into existing categories where you have a comfort level and a good knowledge base. So first and foremost, when looking at new categories to expand into, the companies that do it best, they do their research on the front end, and first and foremost, they understand what products that they're offering. They do an apples to apples comparison of who their like competitors would be and ensure that they're going to get the cost from the manufacturing partners where they can be competitive at retail. And if you can't get those costs and be competitive at retail, then scrap the expansion plan because it simply will not work. Also, when you're launching new products, of course you want products that are going to be sustainable, products that are going to drive repeatable growth over time. So one of the ways in which the top companies do that is with their design, styling, and price point and product functionality, they target the masses. How can you bring a product to market that's going to be appealing to the biggest group of people possible? You see a lot of companies make mistakes. Closeout sections in store and online are full of edgy, fun, amazing, cool, chic, hot, sexy products. And I'll give you a perfect example. I worked for Jaipur Living for several years, area rugs. And Jaipur does some other products as well, but excel at area rugs. And when we would do trade shows like at High Point or the Atlanta Market, the showroom would be full of really cool, amazing new product samples that we would be showing just to kind of get a sense of the customer reaction. And it was all the buzz. These products were dynamic and magnificent. But guess what? Nobody bought them. They liked to look at them, but ultimately what they bought were the core proven items that added to their category and also what their customers responded to. And when they brought on new products, it were things that, based on their experience in running their retail operations, they knew that based on the pricing and the styling, it was going to appeal to the customer. So again, focus on the basics, target the masses, and avoid chasing that hot, sexy, chic, bright and shiny. Number five, and a last hack would be, let's get back to the boring stuff again. So when bringing in new products, supply chain management is obviously very important. Inventory management is very important. Where you have proven history on existing items, that gives you a better sense of the kind of inventory that you're going to bring in from the very beginning. If it's a really new category that you don't have a ton of experience in, there's ways to gather intelligence so you can be very educated in the type of quantities that you want to bring in. But again, a warning is if you don't bring in enough and you sell out within 2 months or 6 months for that matter, and your lead time is 3 months, then that's 90 days. And at Wayfair, 90 days being out of stock, that you're going to lose all of your sales history, which was a new product anyway. And so you're pretty much going to just start over. And that's really going to put that new item in a very difficult position. So again, you want to put yourself in a position to be successful from the beginning. So there's a lot to go over. Not an easy thing to do, but certainly an important function is to expand your product catalog, offer a broad base of SKUs, and to drive sales and profits with new products. But before you can be successful with new products, you have to have a really strong base business that's repeatable, and you're staying in stock on those items that do 80% of your business. So this was a long discussion. I had to reference my notes a lot. Would love to talk with you in more detail about this, so I'd encourage you to please visit our website, rsgsales.com, to set up a call to discuss in more detail. Thanks again.